Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Jody Williams. It's a Friday night. Where else would you want to be, right? And I know some way, somehow on a Friday, somebody's having pizza, but that's neither here nor there. Now, tonight, my guest is someone who will be pulling at the Monster Michael Todd Factory number 3. All right. And her name is Sarah Latona. Sarah, how you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. And ever since last week when I had Rebecca on, I know you've been excited. And she gave me a good idea. And I already had this going. She just kind of put it out there.
All right.
With the December 10th coming around the corner, it'll be here before you know it. And all of a sudden, you got your match coming with Rebecca. And I'm thinking, all right. And ever since that match got announced, if people follow you on Instagram, it's like, okay, here we go. Guess what?
Yeah.
Tell me how this whole thing started.
Okay. Well, it actually started. I think Rebecca touched on it a little bit, but it actually started the Monster Factory 2. She actually called me up before that. Well, Michael called up Jason and was like, "Hey, do you think we could put this match together?" And she was all for it, and then she just got too overwhelmed with doing everything for the factory and all of that. So she decided to hold it off. But Michael, told me, he was like, "Hey, when Rebecca comes back, we want you to be her first match." So that was a thing. And at that time, they actually only thought that I had been in the sport for 2 years.
Right.
Let alone this is my 4th year going on my 5th year. So it's a different beast that you're pulling against from somebody that's been pulling for 2 years to somebody that's been pulling 4 years.
Right.
It's a completely different arm wrestler. So I believe that she will be as ready as she can be, and I am going to be as ready as I can be. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's legitimately how it started, was before Monster Factory 2. And then in, I believe it was June and July, Rebecca called me and was like, "Hey, are you still up to do this? I mean, are you ready?" And I was like, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Go. So, and for me too, I'm not that type of person that's going to bash somebody or, talk badly about somebody, with their training and everything like that. I'm always going to uplift my opponent because I want them to come in at their best so that I can be my best.
Right.
So I'm never going to go against, somebody mentally or anything like that. My mental fight is showing what I'm able to do. I'm going to let the table do the talking.
There you go. I like that. Not only that, but everyone trains differently. There is no person that's going to train the exact same way. And I've said this time and time again, as I'm wearing my Only Forearms t-shirt, by the way.
Only Forearms.
Yes, I am rocking it right now. The thing is, though, is that I had this conversation, multiple times, and I would sit there and tell people I could train like John Brzezinski, I could train like, Michael Todd, but guess what? That's not going to make me pull like them, and it's not going to make me have the same strength. Everyone's built differently, like for me, I'm all thighs and legs and stuff, So I mean that's me, and for my years of playing football and rugby, that's just where I'm at, So that's the thing, what you do. I mean, you're like grinding hard. I love it too, because for as a fan, I'm watching because I follow you, I follow Rebecca, and I'm kind of sit back watching, going, okay, this is going to be awesome. And everyone, who's going to win? If somebody were to ask me who's going to win, I wouldn't know, because I like the both of you guys for one, but also it's like there's so much story underneath the match itself. And tell me if you agree or disagree. You got you kind of behind the scenes, but you're training because you're waiting. It's almost like you're waiting for that call. Now you got the call. Now I'm going to amp up my training. You got Rebecca Todd, who's always been, the backbone of the Monster Factory and stuff. And now she's getting back into it. Now all of a sudden she's motivated now. That's a documentary waiting to happen, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And like for both of us too, we motivate each other.
Yeah.
Not just like physically in the gym and things like that. Yes, when she puts up a video, I'm like, all right, I gotta work harder. When I put up a video, she goes, all right, I gotta work harder. But we also help each other because both of us are, we are Christian women.
Right.
So both of us are helping each other through that as well. So, we're helping each other physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Right.
So it's a good match for us to be going against each other. For me, like Jason and I were just talking about this too. A lot of people don't understand that when you are training, you can't have someone that you only get your training from.
Right.
I can't get training from Devin Lurat. I can't get all of my training from Todd Zilla. I can't get training from those specific guys because they are anomalies in the sport.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And for Jason, I want to come out swinging and showing people that I am supposed to be here as an athlete. Yeah. I am supposed to be in this sport. And I want to show people the difference that I was from my last tournament to now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to come out with a bang. And I want people to go, how did you do that? How did you change? How did you get stronger? How did your technique get better? I want it to be like, we can show you, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. I mean, yeah, it's going to get like that.
And Jason is my main coach. Everything I've learned in the past, even 6 months, how I've changed as an athlete is all Jason. Jason is my coach.
Yeah.
That's who I learn everything from. It's not just the conjugate system. It's not, any other system. It is Jason's system. That is what I'm using. And I want to be the guinea pig to show people it works.
And I'll go a step further. So I can only imagine this. So you two ladies are on the table, and after each match, you're going to your corner. You got Jason, your corner man. You got Michael Todd in Rebecca's corner. And not only is that like your teammate, that's also your significant other. So it holds a little bit more water than normal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that in itself, because all four of you guys are in the, the fitness, I guess you could say fitness realm of things, so to speak.
Yeah, the fitness industry. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys know what this is all about. You know how to prepare the right way for a competition. And I know from you, I mean, whether you compete in Hawthorne, Nevada, whether you go to a tournament in Las Vegas, whatever, every little single thing you take, okay, I did good. I took a third. I took a second. All right, cool. Maybe a first. Let me go back to the lab and figure out, okay, I know I can do better than this. Or if I took third, there's a reason why. Let me find out why and let me fix that. I know for a fact that's how you and Jason attack this. I mean, I could be wrong, and correct me if I am. Is that how you approach things?
No, you are absolutely correct. So at any time, I do not take my losses as a negative thing. Mm-hmm. For me, I take my losses as a positive thing. Just like our good friend Lachlan. We spoke to him after his matches, everything like that. He always says to take a loss like a true champion, like a winner. Mm-hmm. Never take your losses as a loss, because that means you can grow. That means you can get better. That means you have something to strive for. So for me, with Jason, we literally go through my matches and go, okay, this is what you need to work on. This is where you're strong at. So there's not much with that. We can make you better at that, but there's not much we need to do with that.
Right.
What you need to work on is this. And he will literally slow down the videos and go, okay, you see here? This is where you messed up. This person beat you because they got this on you, or they got that on you. Jason is extremely well at taking what he's looking at, especially with matches, and going, that's how that person lost.
Yes.
That's how they won. his table IQ is a lot more than people know, and a lot more that he does not get credit for. So the fact that I have him in my corner, the fact that I have someone as articulate and smart as he is on the table, it's only going to make me stronger.
Well, guess what? Because guess who just chimed in? Your better half. He says we even use the table practice to expose any weaknesses. It's never about being a practice champion. And you know what? Since he brought that up, I got to say something. And, you know, take it for what it's worth. A lot of people use practice as a tool. They use practice as maybe, hey, I think I'm ready for a certain somebody or a certain tournament. But, you know, the thing is, though, if you have a team, are you using practice to help everyone, not just yourself, but everyone? That's what it comes down to. I've had guys in the past in my camp who just, you know, it benefited them, you know, but it's like going, are you, you know, what are you getting out of it? Because we're not getting nothing out of it if you're always, if you feel like that, you know, all you have to do is win, right? It's not helping anybody. So yeah, I like that. No. It's almost like you're a football coach. Here's Jason being the football coach. You're the player. He's breaking things down in the film room, so to speak. You know, and I can only 100%. Imagine you two going over different scenarios. Hey, if someone does that, what do you do? You know?
Yes, and we've actually been at tournaments where he has sat me down and gone, Sarah, what are you doing? You know you can beat that person.
Right.
There is no reason that they should be beating you. And people look around and they're like, wow, he's like yelling at her. I'm like, but he's my coach. And he's my husband.
Right.
He will push me to as far as he knows that I can go. He believes in me more than I believe in myself. But when he says stuff like that to me, it clicks with me. And that's when I win my matches. Where he goes, Sarah, what are you doing? What are you doing? Fix it. You know what to do. You know what you're capable of. Just do it. And having somebody like that in my corner, it's only going to make me better. And I'm sure Rebecca feels the same way about Michael.
Do you feel there's any pressure with that comes with that? Because in that dynamic, it always feels like, okay, you know, because you know what's going on because it's you two. But the outside world only sees the surface of it. You guys, you know more about it. Do you feel like that, okay, Jason's pushing me as a coach and a husband? Sometimes you got to kind of separate the two?
Let's be honest. A lot of times when you have couples and they're training in the gym, there's always going to be, like, if you told me something and Jason told me something, I would look at you and go, oh, yeah, okay, all right. But with Jason, it's like, oh, but can't I do a different thing? You know what I mean?
Right.
There's always that thing where it's too close for comfort type of thing. And go, he's only doing this because he believes in me more than I believe in myself.
Right.
He knows what I'm capable of. He's seen what I'm capable of. I can't see from the outside looking in. If I have videos of me training or if I have videos of me at tournaments, that's when I can see. But he sees constantly what I'm doing wrong, how I'm doing it in tournaments, in practice, and everything. He sees it live.
Yes.
Where I don't. So there's things that I don't see that he sees. So with the way that people see our relationship of him being a coach and everything like that, to me, it's only made our relationship stronger. Because I know he's doing it to make me better.
Right. And like you just said, he sees things you don't see. As a competitor, we can, like, you know, once we get to the table, we can just look to see where our foot placement is. But now you're so worried about what's on the table, you can change your foot placement and your body language and not even know it.
Yeah.
Jason can see that and go, hey. I mean, even I know, I'm thinking I'm gripping up and I got my teammate going, dude, you know, you're dumping your wrist. I'm like, no, I'm not. Dude, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm thinking, all right, whatever. Then we go back to the foot and go, I'll be damned, I was dumping my wrist. Although I feel like I wasn't. Is that what you mean?
No, and yes, exactly. That is exactly what I mean. Because you feel something differently than what somebody else will see.
Right.
So for him there's so many times where like, Jason, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing that. And he shows me a video and I'm like, oh shit, I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Well, yes, you're 100% right. And 100% of the time he is right.
Well, let me ask you this. How many super matches do you have under your belt?
This will be my first one.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So now, and you know what? Now the training explains it all. Because, I mean, and you always trained anyway. But now that this match is up there, and, you know, I've already dubbed 2022 the year of opportunity. It's time for people to get the opportunity to show what they can do. You know? Yes, I coined the phrase, hashtag 2022 opportunity, right? So now, being that this is your first ever super match, and you get to do it on one of the bigger stages of all things, you know, you get to, and it's going to be live. It's going to be on YouTube, and everyone's going to see it. Whether they're going to be live and they're going to see it even more after the fact, you're going to get so many hits, you know. So I know there's that kind of pressure, you know, like, okay, this is a big stage. It's in the Monster Factory. Everyone talks about the turf inside the factory and all the awards in the background, the posters and the workout equipment. And this is like real. This is real big, you know. And I understand you're going to be on that card. Not only that, but then you're going to be rubbing elbows with some of the greatest arm wrestlers the U.S. has to offer, and you get to be on that card.
So excited.
So that in itself.
I can't tell you. But, like, for me, too, though, you have to understand, too, I come from a background of entertainment. So I've been performing since I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
So being on big stages, I'm going to react differently than somebody that's not used to being on a stage like that. So for me, you know, I like the lights. I like, you know, being there, being in the moment, everything like that. But don't get me wrong, I will be a little nervous as well, of course. Right. I mean, you're always going to have the nerves. If you don't have the nerves, that means you don't care enough.
Right.
So for me, definitely, that's something I am extremely excited about, and I am so blessed and honored to be able to be on that card with the caliber that is on that card.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So now your training has went up a notch, and like I said before, I already mentioned it earlier in the show that, hey, you know, and by the way, people, feel free to get on Instagram and check Sarah out, because some of the stuff she's doing is great. Even the editing is even better, you know. But this is it.
Thank you.
You know, so where do we go after when it's all said and done? Win or lose, where do we go from here?
Only up. That's what I'm, you know, the biggest thing for me, as an athlete in this sport, is I only want to go up from here.
Right.
You know, the people that normally beat me at tournaments are world class.
Yeah.
Are, you know, people that are whopping on people at nationals, and like, I mean, they've been to nationals multiple times and worlds multiple times. And, you know, some of them have been to Zloty. So the athletes that are beating me at this moment are that high.
Right.
So I know my goal is just going to keep going up from here. It's not going to stop. And I know that I'm posting a lot of videos and things like that on my Instagram, but there are training that I don't have on there too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can imagine.
Everybody's seeing are only an excerpt of what I'm actually doing.
Right. I mean, there's some things that you kind of keep sacred, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Definitely.
I put out examples about what I do on my YouTube channel all the time. That doesn't mean that it's every single thing I do. You know.
Yes.
I'm not going to bore people by having a live stream on YouTube about my actual workout. It's probably boring as hell. Yeah. So I dummy it down and say, hey, this is what I did today. So, but I'm thinking this, not that I'm a promoter, but I'm saying when the smoke clears December 10th, whether you win or lose, I foresee that what would happen if Sarah got a chance to match up with Leanne Wilson?
Oh, gosh.
You know?
That would be, to be honest, that would be my ultimate dream. I would love to match up with Leanne. Leanne has been, you know, one of those girls that even helped me at tournaments.
Yeah.
The last tournament at Vegas, she literally pulled me aside and yelled at me. She yelled at me before we got onto the table. She was like, Sarah, I don't understand what's going on. You got to pull me like I'm Sarah Backman. Do not be scared of me.
Right.
I want everything you've got. And hearing somebody like Lee Aaron say that to me, she's like, I want a match. I want a match between you. Let's go. I was like, geez, okay. Thanks, Lee Aaron. But, you know, she has been one of the people that, you know, she's always there helping me if I need help. If I ask her a question about training, she's always willing to train with me. Like, oh, that would definitely be something that I would love to do.
Or
and that would be an honor and a blessing for me to be able to pull against her as well.
Now, what about Danielle Everson? Because those two, and I could imagine.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: when you saw that matchup, okay, Danielle,
Yeah.
and you saw, you know, Lee Aaron go at it left and right, I know you were watching. What was going through your mind
100%.
when you watched those women arm wrestle? Because I mean, you had to be like, okay, because like you said, you and Rebecca were already talking around after number 2, and so you're kind of going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
take us back.
No, we were talking before 2.
Okay.
Because we were actually going to be on that card.
Right.
Rebecca and I were actually going to be on that card. But yes, when I saw that match, I absolutely adore both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing the two of them go at it like that, I was like, that is the type of grit that I want. That is the type of arm wrestler that I want to be. It was for me, it was a very inspirational match to see.
Yes.
Because both of them they aren't very big women. And seeing the fact how they pull, like, it's amazing. Like, you have Lee Aaron, whose IQ is just ridiculous on the table. The way she can move from one to the other like that. And then you have, you know, the strength that these girls have. Like, I can't imagine pulling like either one of them in a super match.
You know what?
It's just it would be so cool.
Because what I see is
especially Danielle, the strength that Danielle has to just hold people.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. And you know, Danielle has always been in my corner as well. You know, she's always been so supportive. The same with Lee Aaron. And that's what I love about this sport. The women in the sport are so supportive of each other because we want it to grow.
You know, this is what I see, because I see this thing getting big, and obviously they're going to add on to the Monster Factory. I think that's not a secret, but I see this event getting bigger because, you know, especially with the ladies, I see it like a league, I guess, so to speak, where, okay, we got a Monster Factory women's division. You know, you're going to have girls like yourself, Lee Aaron, you know, Danielle. You throw in maybe a Nancy Locke, Jolene Anderson. I mean, Sarah Collins McKinney. The list goes on and on. Yeah. And I foresee something like this going.
To be honest, the match that I would love to see, to be honest, before me and Lee Aaron, would be Nancy and Lee Aaron.
There you go. There you go.
Love to see that match. Love it.
Well, hey, we got a question. So, Ethan Sheets says, can you and Sarah touch on what you focus on practices and what you do to get the most out of them? How often you go 100%, if you do, or how much focus on getting better technique? I'll let you take the question. I'll let you answer first, Sarah.
Sure. So, for me, when I'm training, I don't do 100% every week. I typically stay to around 70%. So I figure out what my max is on anything that I'm doing. And then I go about 70% of that. And then I go up in percentage every time I do that until I get to 100% again. And then I add weight, and then I go back down to 70% again. So it's kind of like a pyramid scheme on how I do it. It's very similar. We take little things here and there from the conjugate system of how we train and stuff like that. But mostly my training is done by Jason. He's the one that puts everything together. So he will tell me what I'm doing that day, and then I figure out the reps and everything that goes with that.
Okay.
For me, the biggest motivation for me to keep going, especially right now, is having a goal. You have to set a goal for yourself. My goal is getting to the match December 10th. That is my goal. So my training is to make me stronger, my technique better. Everything revolves around that match right now.
Yeah.
Will I have a goal after that? 100% I can have a goal after that. I could literally tell myself I want to end up going against someone like Danielle or Lee Aaron or even Nancy Locke. Just putting those goals ahead of me, knowing that those girls are quite a few ways ahead of me when it comes to arm wrestling. To me, they are. So for me, that is going to be my goal. And the fact that I actually am a general manager at a gym. So I have no excuse to not train.
There you go.
I am there Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. is when it's my training time.
Right.
So I have no excuse not to get into the gym.
Well, Miss Rebecca Todd is live. She's in the chat. She's driving. They got a back signal, but she's chimed in. So just to let you know, she's in the house. My version of practice to answer Ethan's question. What I do 1 week, it'll just be compound movements. It'll be, working on back, chest, arms, that kind of stuff, shoulders. And then the following week, then it's more, I break everything down to like, okay, we're going to work on supination. We're going to work on pronation, riser that week. And then week 3 goes back to week 1. So I guess I just alternate. And then to know if I don't waste any time, if I'm getting strong at a certain point, then I test that theory out and practice with my teammates, and if it works out, cool, I'll hammer it. If it's not working, then I just throw it away. I don't want to waste any more time on it. I got my stuff on a dry erase board in my garage. We get together once a week. Sometimes it's sporadic now because it was summertime and, we're family guys. So we tend to go on vacations and this kind of the other. So I think now that school's back in session now, so I expect practice to pick back up full steam ahead like it did before summer came into play. So you do things like that, Mr. Ethan. That's what I like to do. I'm always doing some kind of hand thing. If I'm watching TV, with my wife and stuff, I'm sitting for the gripper. She likes to make fun of me, but it's all right. That's just what I do. If you want to get good at something, you gotta constantly do that. So if that means, working shoulders or band work or whatever the case may be, that's what we do. In our practices, the stronger guy is the one that holds. And then the weaker guy works. And then if the stronger guy wants to really start working on his goes and wants to be offensive, then we have a band that he has to go through the band and the opponent. That way it kind of levels the playing field. So that's the kind of stuff we work at. It seems to work. So hopefully, Ethan, that answered your question. So there you go. So
yeah.
Justin,
I'm going to say hi to Rebecca as well.
Please
Rebecca,
do.
If you're still on, hello.
Justin Green says, how many times do you have table time or week? How many times do you go to the gym? So basically, I guess what you're saying is divide how many times are you on the table a week? How many times you're in the gym in a week?
Well, I'm in the gym 5 days a week, obviously. Sometimes 6 days. For table time, I usually do once a week, but hard pulling table time, I do about once or twice a month. Because you don't want to overuse your tendons and your ligaments and everything like that. You want to be able to let your body recover.
Yeah.
So for me, I typically we have practice on Saturdays. So I train on Saturdays once a week with the team. And then once to twice a month, that's when I do a hard pulling. So I get to actually hit the guys and really use my strength instead of just doing technique and everything like that on the table.
Yep. No, I agree, because practice champions, right? Even Justin Green says, practice wins counts. I even have a T-shirt. Actually, I got 2 of them that says practice wins count. It's an inside joke, but it's funny. But yeah, they count to a certain degree, because I used to gauge myself with my team when I first got into the sport. If actually I was getting my butt kicked, then I was on the low man on the totem pole, and then when I started, getting the best of them in practice, that's how I started gauging myself that, okay, maybe I can hang in the sport. Maybe I can get some of these wins in tournaments and stuff. So I guess to a certain degree, they do count, because how you going to know unless you got the same guys over and over again, or girls, and sometimes you run into a plateau, and then you want to know, okay, is what I'm doing actually working? Well, guess what? That's when you and your team, either you travel to another practice in state limits, or they come to you, and then you go against somebody you're not familiar with. Then you can find out, okay, is this stuff really working?
Yeah.
Just my experience. Do you guys travel for practices, or is it just like the same, group you always do with?
For the most part, we do train with our team, but we try to get out to California as much as we can, so we can train with Derek's team and like get out to tournaments and stuff like that for after pulling and everything like that. Just because it's always better to train with different people, because if you're training with the same people every day, you're getting used to how that person pulls, and they're getting used to how you pull. Instead of pulling you in different directions and different ways to make you a better and stronger arm wrestler. For instance, we have a new girl that just came from Dubai. Her name is Weedad. And Devin introduced her. He gave her the information to get in contact with me. She came to the practice, amazing, because this girl is vicious on the table. And I never have women that hit me like she does.
Right.
So it was great for me to be able to hold her power, to be able to hold her hits, everything like that. Having somebody like that from a different team, now living in Vegas, she trained with Larry Wheels' team.
Oh, wow.
So she was out in Dubai training with them. So that's where she met Devin. So the fact that Devin was like, hey, get in contact with Sarah and the Las Vegas arm wrestling team to train with them, because she lives here now. So the fact that I have a girl like that on the team that just hits and hits and hits, it's so nice to have somebody like that, because now it gets me used to feeling hits as well. Because as a woman in a man sport, a lot of the time, the men don't know how much strength to give a woman to be able for her to train.
Right.
So yes, it makes us crazy strong. The women that, have the big teams that are constantly training with men, but it's different when you're holding on to a woman's hand. It's different angles. It's different things like that. So having new hands, going to different practices, traveling as much as you can, financially and everything like that, being able to travel to different teams to practice is only going to benefit you, especially in a sport like this.
I agree, to the point where, there's not a lot of women in the sport. So when you do get them and they're in a team and you're pulling guy after guy after guy, you're used to those big hands. Now you go to a tournament, it's like, oh crap, let me grip up. I'm like, oh wow. Hey ref, just say go, because I've been training with these big hands and now I got somebody with the same hand as me and I feel so comfortable. Do you ever get that feeling when you go to a tournament?
Not as much as I used to. I've kind of figured out how to train a little bit better now.
Right.
So we also have smaller guys on our team that I train with more now, because they have smaller hands. So they're closer to a woman's size, nothing against the smaller guys, but they're closer to a woman's size than they are to, let's say, my husband's hand. If you've ever gripped with Jason, he's got huge mitts. Like, his hands are so big. Yes, it makes me stronger. It makes my hands stronger. It makes my fingers stronger. My side pressure, everything that I have comes from that man. But when I grip up with a girl, it is different. It does feel different. But the best thing that anybody ever told me was from Sarah Backman. The first time I met her, I was like, it's really hard for me because I don't know how strong I am. The guys say I'm strong, everything like that. And Sarah literally told me, she was like, do not get discouraged. She was like, never get discouraged as a woman in this sport when you're only training with men, because they will only make you stronger. Yes, a woman's hand is going to be different, but feeling a woman that only trains with men compared to a woman that only trains with women, there's a difference. There's a different feeling. And, you know, the Las Vegas arm wrestling team, we have monsters.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of that.
Monsters. Like, you know, we have my husband, who has ridiculous side pressure. We've got Brandon Allen, who I train with. We've got Tom Stubbleblind, who I train with. We've got Brian. You know, we've got, like, all these monsters that are in Vegas. We have Oleg. Like, we have all these huge guys that I get to train with. So I feel very blessed to be able to have the team that I do, and to be able to have, you know, the team that backs me like these guys do.
Right.
Like, they are all for, you know, pushing everybody on our team, making everybody better, you know, becoming more, you know, a closer knit team and like everything like that. These guys love this sport so much. They want it to grow, not just for the guys, but for the women as well. And it's great to have a team like that to be able to get stronger with.
Well, yeah, you just officially made me super jealous now, because I'm like, what the hell? Because I get jealous. I get jealous to a certain degree. I get jealous of people in the South in arm wrestling. I get jealous of people.
I mean,
you know, like,
we're so close to Bob Brown's team too, so it's like they come down and train with us a lot. Bob Brown in the winter, you know, like, he lives an hour away from here in Mesquite, you know, in the winter.
Right.
So he comes and trains with us all the time in the winter. Like, that's what he does. He goes to his house there, trains with us. It's an hour away. You know, it's great. Like, the location we have is awesome. And we even have, you know, the guys from Derek's team come over and train with us too. I mean, you know, I'm an hour and 45 minutes away from Derek's, or like 2 hours or something like that from Derek's team. So it's nice at the location, but we're always happy for people to come down and train with us.
Justin Green.
Teams. We want that. We want you guys to come down. You know, take a trip to Vegas. Who doesn't want to take a Vegas trip?
Exactly,
and,
right?
Here, you arm wrestle.
I'll tell you what.
What's better?
Justin Green made a good, you know, idea. He said, do a Utah versus Vegas super matches. Well, being that, you know, how often do you guys go to the Brazilian Cup in November?
We might be going this time because Gabby is going to be here. But Gabby has also spoke to us and said that she is coming down to practice with our team. So either way, I would love to go to the Brazilian Cup. We will have to see, because it is pretty close to my super match. Right. So I may do just my left hand, right, and not my right hand at that time.
Right.
But we will see. I would love to be able to come to the Brazilian Cup for sure. That would definitely be something that, I mean, that's been something the past, you know, few years I've been in the sport, I've wanted to be a part of. So
there you
definitely
go.
Something that I would want to do.
Another question. Ethan says, what are your thoughts on pulling twice or more a week at less effort, but focus more on the true angles on the table compared to the gym workouts?
100%. I think, especially if you're starting out in the sport, The Europeans and the Russians and everybody over there, they do this correctly. Your first 4 years in the sport, you are on the table.
Right.
You are learning the technique. You are getting everything perfected on that table. Not sparring all the time. What they consider sparring is what we consider like pinning people and everything like that.
Right.
Or fighting. They call that fighting. Sparring is when it's almost like if you've ever been taken a jiu-jitsu class, when you're flowing with someone, you're just going through the movements. Each person gets you into a position, and then you slowly go into a different position. It's the same thing that we do on the table. So you're figuring out where the angles are, where your technique needs to be. Right. So you're getting the same amount of pressure between the two polars. So that right there, you can 100% do that 2 to 3 to 4 times a week. But when it comes to fighting and when it comes to pinning people, you should not be doing. For me personally, I would say not to do that because you could potentially be overworking your tendons and your ligaments and your muscles and everything, and you don't want to do that. You want to be able to train smart. And we all love it. We love going to practices and just smashing people to the pin. That's what's fun about this sport. But you have to look at it from an athletic standpoint. Right. From an athlete. You're not going to, how many times do, you see legitimate athletes going over and over and over. You see even football players, how badly they get hurt. Why? Because they're doing huge, football games once a week. They're constantly, fighting basically. So if you want a longevity in a sport, you have to do it smart. So what they do over in the East is the first 4 years you are on that table. You aren't doing anything else. You are learning technique, everything on that table. Once you get past that and your technique is perfected, then you go to the gym and you start getting stronger and you start building on top of that technique that you already have. So for me, if you're new in the sport, your first 2 to 4 years, get on that table as much as you can. Don't fight on that table. Spar. Be like water. Go back and forth. Don't pressure somebody too much. Keep the same pressure between you so that you're learning the technique. Right. You don't want to learn. It's harder to get out a bad habit than it is to learn the correct technique.
Well, I'll tell you what
you should be focusing on.
And and maybe that's why they're ahead of us right now, so to speak, Yes.
I believe that's one of the reasons why they are ahead of us. They train smarter. We may be stronger, but they train smarter. There's a difference.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, and like I said, and everyone has, and I just got the 90% show.
That's just me.
No. What you're saying makes sense. And I had just got off the 90% talk show podcast, and I was telling them that, you know what, as far as training goes, I can do everything to a T that Michael Todd does, or John Brzezinski does, or Dave Chafee does. It's not going to equal the same results that they get because everyone's built different. Everyone, somebody's going to have a bigger hand than me. Somebody's going to have just a stronger. It is different. But what you got to do, you got to find out what works for you. That's what it comes down to.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly what it comes down to. The way that you train and how you train is how you are going to be as an arm wrestler.
Yeah.
100%.
Totally get that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's nothing but training for you because December 10th seems so far away, but at the same time, it'll sneak up on you if you're not careful. Once you go through Halloween, Thanksgiving. Yeah. So, and I understand that, you're taking it seriously. And I know you don't want to look beyond that, but this might be the cherry on top for 2022 for you. And then once you're already on there, 2023 hits. Now it's like, okay, now what do I do? Now you kind of go, oh, okay. Well, guess what? Hey, Sarah, we want you down for the Monster Todd Factory number 4. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean,
that would be an absolute blessing. I would be so happy to be able to do that. But hey, I'm just doing one step at a time, one day at a time. I don't want to underestimate what Rebecca can do.
Right.
And I know that she is a hard worker. She is dedicated. She is working her butt off in that gym.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly. And I've spoken to Rebecca on the phone. Like, she is an inspiration in itself. So when she's putting up these videos of her training, I'm like, I got to get my training going too. I got to get it going too.
And sometimes, and tell me this, when you prepare for a super match, I get so in my own head that I kind of go, man, someone's getting better than me. I better have that extra set, or I better get a crank out a few more reps because I know what they're doing. They may not show it on social media, but I know for a fact they're putting out more than I am. I gotta up my, game. Does that ever cross your mind too?
For me, I will never underestimate an opponent, whether it is from a super match. This is my first super match. So this is my first time actually going through that training and understanding what, you have been through, what other arm wrestlers have been through. I haven't been through that. So this is my first time going through this.
Right.
So for me, it's just such a good thing for me to push myself and to be able to not look at somebody and be like, oh, I could beat them. No. I have to look at her and go, she could beat me at any angle. She could be a stronger top roller. She could be a stronger hooker. I could be the stronger hooker or the stronger top roller. We don't know. We've never held hands. So we've never been in a tournament with each other. We don't know how the other pulls. The only thing that we know are videos.
Yeah,
so
and that's all you can go by.
That's all I can go off of. That is literally all I can go off of videos and seeing her training and what she's doing. And that's literally all I can do. And trust that what, Jason is having me do, trust that what his training is doing is going to blow everybody out of the water. From seeing my last tournament at Las Vegas to now,
mm-hmm.
I want people to go, how did you do that? How did you go from this to this? And I'm going to point to my husband and go, ask him.
And you know what? It's going to be on full display, everybody. December 10th in Arkansas. The Monster Factory number 3, Rebecca Todd and Sarah Latona will highlight the ladies' event. And I'm telling you right now, and you know what? Again, that card is so awesome. And my goal is to have some more people who are competing on that card on my show as we get closer to December 10th. But right now, I really, really appreciate you joining me on the show. It's Friday night.
Of course.
I don't want to take too much time away from you and Jason, but I'm going to go get a bite to eat.
Oh, it's all good.
So me and the wifey can hang out and do our thing and watch TV and just relax, But hey, I'm looking forward to it. I'll still be checking out the Instagram training sessions between the both of you guys. Everyone, don't forget to tune in because once again, December 10th is the place. Arkansas.
Definitely.
Monster Factory number 3. So with that being said, Sarah, once again, thank you for being a guest on my show, and I will keep in touch, and I will talk to you down the road.
Hey, I've got one more thing to say.
Yes, ma'am.
We have somebody special coming in this weekend. It's going to be a lot of data for me.
Okay.
And we're going to figure out where I need to get stronger, where my weaknesses are, and everything. So I'm really, really, really excited for this weekend. It's going to be so much fun, but having her here, it's definitely going to be a big one. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned because the Latonas, they do big things. And, aside from their camp that's loaded with talent as it is anyway, this special guest coming in is the cherry on top. So you said that's tomorrow, correct?
100%. What's that?
You said that's tomorrow that special guest will be there?
This coming weekend. So
not
this weekend, but next weekend.
Gotcha. So we'll be sitting back waiting for the announcement, rubbing our hands together going, who could it be? Who could it be? So.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited for this one. So definitely stay tuned for that because it's a big one for sure.
Sounds good. Sarah, Jason, you all enjoy your evening and we'll keep in touch.
Definitely. See you later, guys.
All right. Take care. That was Sarah Latona. Big match coming up with Rebecca Todd. Once again, December 10th at the Monster Factory 3 in Arkansas. It's going to be happening. My goal is to get more people on the show as we get closer to that. But not next weekend. Your boy and the family will be all be in Disneyland doing our thing. So, again, everybody, thank you for joining me tonight. It's Friday night. Enjoy yourselves. And once again, see ya when I see ya. Y'all be good to one another.